Okay. So, I mean, obviously now we've reached Karbala. Imam Hussain alayhi salam is there. I want to move kind of to the, how can we put it, to the aftermath, because obviously people know the stories, and there are so many aspects and ways we can go into the story of the 10th of Muharram that we will be here for, you know, hours and hours. And I want to focus on today. And we've brought it up a little bit, you know, there's been a few discussions tonight regarding it. In your opinion, Sayyid, and obviously the opinions of the ulama and the brothers and sisters in the community, what would you say are the best ways to remember and to honor Imam Hussain? And, you know, what is the importance of remembering and honoring Imam Hussein's sacrifice?
Well, I think the first reason you honor Imam Hussein's sacrifice is because the Quran says, through the words of the Prophet ﷺ, that I don't ask from you anything except love for my family. So you're following an injunction of the Quran. Then you're following an injunction of ahadith. The first of them which says, Allah loves the one who loves Imam al-Hussein. So I want Allah to love me on the Day of Judgment. Then you have the hadith where Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam tells his companions, may Allah have mercy on those who revive our affair. We are reviving the affair of the religion of Islam and its great personality. So that's all the prerequisites that are needed. In terms of what's the best ways, well, without a shadow of doubt, the first of the best ways is by having a good lecture or stroke seminar where you remember his message. What do we do on these nights of Muharram? I remember a book being published by Saudi Arabia saying that the Shia on the 10th of Muharram switch their lights off and commit adultery in their mosques. Absolutely ridiculous, but you have ridiculous people who read these things and believe them. So, but then you have when we go to our mosques, what are we doing? We listen to a lecture on the message of Allah, the message of the Prophet, and the message of the family, sallallahu alayhi wa. So when that's the best way, you go, you listen, you learn, you then apply into your own life. Even if you serve food to the public out of honor of the message of the Imam, even if, for example, you give out leaflets, documents, DVDs, so people learn about this. And it's important that we make the people understand that Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam's message is for every human, not just for Muslims. That we have to make it a universal message, not a message which sounds like a sectarian division machine. We have to make sure that it's a message which every human being out there can say, oh my God, that man is someone I can learn from. And subhanallah, if you look in history, there have been some personalities outside the religion of Islam who benefited in an enormous way from Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. I remember reading Gandhi when he first went on the Salt March. When Gandhi went on the Salt March, and notice Gandhi studied in syllabuses until today, but Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam isn't. And I guarantee you many who've studied Gandhi do not know his inspiration was Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. That Gandhi says, when I went on my first Salt March, I took 72 people with me, because Imam al-Hussain took 72 with him. His 72 are eternal. I want my 72 to be eternal. So you find that Gandhi was affected. Charles Dickens, as we mentioned earlier, said, I can't understand why he took his wife and his woman and his children, unless it means that he was doing it for God, because nobody would take his close family members. You find, for example, Dr. Raj Prasad has a lovely line where he says, Imam al-Hussein's sacrifice does not belong to a country or a nation, but rather belongs to the hereditary state of brotherhood. Imam al-Hussein's message does not belong to a country or a nation, but rather the hereditary state of brotherhood. Nehru, the famous leader of the Indo-Pak subcontinent, Nehru, what did he used to say? Nehru used to say, Imam al-Hussein's sacrifice is for all communities and for all groups and is the path of righteousness. So we've mentioned Nehru, we've mentioned Gandhi, we've mentioned Dickens, Antoine Bara, when we said no battle in the past, no battle in the present, has brought about sympathy and admiration and as many lessons as the Battle of Karbala. Imam Hussain. Antoine Bara is a Lebanese Christian. In other words, we've mentioned people from Hinduism, people from Christianity, people from Hinduism, from Christianity, who have come forward and who have said, we have learned from Imam Hussain. Historians like Edward Brown saying that, you know, it evokes an exaltation of the spirit where pain, death and danger shrink into unconsidered trifles. Pain, death and danger, we all fear them, don't we? But when you read his story, you're like, I don't mind pain anymore. I don't mind danger anymore. I don't mind death anymore. They shrink into unconsidered trifles. Tell me, Edward Brown was a Muslim? Charles Dickens was a Muslim, Gandhi was a Muslim, Nehru was a Muslim, Raj Prasad was a Muslim. These are all people outside of the religion, but who were inspired by Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So likewise with us, we have to make sure that in this holy month of Muharram, when we spread the word of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, spread it to your own, but after you spread it to your own, ask how many non-Muslims have I spread it to?
SubhanAllah, excellent advice, Said. I believe we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for talking to me.
Sure, no problem, brother.
The point that Brother Nakshawani has just mentioned about how many people of different religions have praised Imam Hussain and learned from his sacrifice. And surely that's the point, that we need to remove religion from this episode in Karbala. Because religion pacifies people. Like, for example, Yazid is followed blindly because a false hadith is quoted that anybody who fights in Constantinople has been forgiven. So as soon as you pacify an audience through religion, then religion ends up doing such atrocious things. So surely it's no longer a religious issue. And if you make it a religious issue, then in a way you do a discredit to Imam Hussain. And if you look at all the characters that Ammar Nakshawani has mentioned, none of them were like heavily into religion. They were like people who came out with a mission, and they may have talked of aspects of religion, but they were not religious in that big sense. So surely we need to subtract Imam Hussain from the kind of religious kind of tags that we give to him. Thank you.
So, brother, are you still on the line?
Yes.
Obviously, Imam Hussain being a humanistic figure, but then would you not also argue that Imam Hussein's sacrifice was for the sake of God? And
right.
So there is an undeniable link to religion. I mean, I understand your point, and it's a very good point, which is that perhaps people are manipulating religion, but that doesn't negate Imam Hussein's sacrifice.
Well, what I find sometimes is that even if you take a Shia card, and you look at a number of people who call themselves Shias of Imam Hussain, Imam Ali, but they become so self-righteous about their religion, and they ignore so many other wrongs that not only they do, but that might be within Shiaism. Or the Sunnis will become so self-righteous and then still do so many wrong things. And isn't religion therefore responsible for making people so passive? And then they would listen to Yazid and say, you know, Yazid was good, what he did was fine. So they would subtract themselves from human consciousness because of religion.
Brother, would you just mind staying on the line? Because you raised some very good points. I just want to pass over to Sayyid.
I think it's a fantastic point that the brother or the caller has mentioned, and that point being, the whole idea of making this message of Imam al-Hussein a universal message. In which sense? In the sense that we want to deconstruct the human being. When we look at other human beings, we see that they have three features we all have. They want to analyze the world, and we want to analyze the world. They want to argue for their opinion, we want to argue. They are assessing decisions, we are assessing decisions. When we have these common denominators, it means that a personality like Imam al-Hussein can transcend our differences as human beings, theologically, and become a common denominator for us in our aspirations in our life, for example, to build absolute universals by which we live our life. The only comment that I would make is why sometimes it's important to remind people at the end of a discussion on Imam al-Hussein about the religious aspect is that many times people say that religion is not holistic. It provides you with a legal platform and nothing more. I think Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam highlights the holistic system that is a religion. That is that the religion provides you with a theological standpoint and an ethical standpoint and a legal standpoint and a political standpoint. Religions in the world today, people look at them and are like, they don't produce any figures who we can revere, and that shows that they're not very holistic. They don't appeal to every aspect of life. Whereas the Imam al-Hussein we looked at was an Imam al-Hussein of politics, an Imam al-Hussein of theology, an Imam al-Hussein of ethics, an Imam al-Hussein of jurisprudence. Everything religion should be guiding the human being was manifested in this man. And further than this, what's the religion? A religion is meant to protect the property of a human, the honor of a human, the intellect of a human, the life of a human, and the religion of a human. It was all embodied in this one human being. So for those people out there, sometimes there is a need to remind them of the vision religion provides mankind and the whole idea of the way of life that it provides mankind, and that can be embodied in the character of the Imam.
Thank you. Is the last caller still there? No, he's been dropped. Inshallah, that addresses the points, because there were some very interesting points the brother raised, in that we should all also, I think, perhaps humble ourselves a bit more. And he mentioned that perhaps some Shias we believe because we're Shias, that's it, it's fine. Some may not cater for other aspects of the religion. So indeed, brother, there's many of us who need to do more introspection, but I don't think we can at the same time divorce what happened on the 10th of Muharram from its blatant religious connotations. But a very good call. I believe we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
I'm
wa barakatuh.
watching your program since long, and in the program's format and whatever being discussed, this is highly appreciable. And I would like to request your guest a question, which is going to be $1 million question, that what are the factors which till date could not bring the both sections, the both sects at one platform? There are certain things which are admitted behind the curtains. Why they haven't got the courage to accept it right in front of everyone on a unanimous platform? And that pertains to the sanctity of the household of Holy Prophet. All the three things which are respected worldwide, it should be admitted that this starts from Zurriyat Ibrahim. We must tell to the people, to tell to the whole Muslim Ummah, that what is meant by Zurriyat Ibrahim. Who are the who are the people, who are the personalities who are known as Zurriyat Ibrahim? Number two, why saying that Zurriyat Ibrahim is going to have Risalat, Zurriyat Ibrahim is going to have Imamat, Zurriyat Ibrahim is going to have Ismat? So why don't all the people from our other section come and at the platform and do admit that what is meant by Risalat? Who are the personalities who are representing Risalat from Zurriyat Ibrahim? Who are the personalities who are representing Imamat from Zurriyat Ibrahim? Who is the personality who is representing Ismat from Zurriyat Ibrahim? So if this is admitted right in front of the whole world, then I think whole world is going to come to know that there is no difference. Then we can discuss our commonalities. This is the main difference on which many ulamas from our Sunni sect, they don't admit publicly. So I would like to hear his thoughts over this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you very much. I think the brother mentions a fantastic point, which is often neglected, not only in our religion, but in other religions, especially Christianity, and that is the lineage of Abraham through his son Ismail. In our religion, we saw that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed this line, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had promised Ibrahim there will be leaders from this line, and that the main attribute would be that they would be just and not oppressors. But it seems that the Muslims forgot the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed this lineage of Ibrahim through Ismail. Is not this family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, aren't they the lineage which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to be blessed? Even in the Bible, so many pointed towards the lineage of Isaac, they forgot the lineage of Ishmael. What did Allah mean when He talked about 12 princes from the line of Ishmael? What happened to this generation of Ishmael, this blessed generation? I think many Christians don't even know that that family tree of Ishmael continued to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to his family as protectors of that message. So the Prophet, I think what he's trying to say is that publicly we should come together as Muslims to say that this generation of Abraham through the Prophet's family sallallahu alaihi wasallam should all be honored between ourselves and non-Muslims as well.
Absolutely. Another question I had, which is related to the previous caller, the brother who mentioned about religion possibly being passive. And it may be the case that in the past, thousands, maybe hundreds of years ago, religion was used as they say, an opiate of the masses to control the people. But I kind of find that, especially with regards to the school of the Ahlul Bayt, Shia Islam, so to speak, it's anything but, and it's actually a very revolutionary message. And we've seen in the last 30 years in the Middle East, it's been the followers of the Ahlul Bayt who have used the message of Imam Hussain, and who've learned from that message to fight tyrants such as the Shah, Saddam Hussein, various dictators who've lived within the Middle East and who've used this message as anything but being passive, but being a way to rise against oppression. So, I mean, would you accept that perhaps what we've learnt from the legacy of Karbala is that you should be using, that Islam is for fighting oppression and is anything but passive and is actually revolutionary?
I think the beautiful thing about the Imams of Ahlul Bayt is that they had an unbelievable balance. You know, Rumi, when he talks about Imam Ali alayhi salam, says, in bravery you are the lion of your Lord, but in generosity who knows who you are. they have that balance. When